Oh, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this Friday night show on Through Black and White Eyes. The look ahead to the game tomorrow. I made it, just police everywhere. I was riding home on my bike. I literally turned a corner and there was just vans everywhere, flashing lights. I was like, shit, what's going on? Had to take a bit of a detour, unfortunately. But I made it. I'm here. I'm drinking a coffee. I'm trying to stay awake. We've got Reese, we've got Gary in the background. Reese is going to come on and tell you his amazing story. Obviously, you know about stuff I try to do with men's mental health. Obviously, there's, I do it at work, try to do it on the channel as well. And Reese does a better job than me, as well as some other people do. So he's going to tell us about his story, about his channel, about what he's trying to achieve. They had Ray Winston on. Ray Winston, that's amazing. Before I get everyone on, though, hit the subscribe button if you enjoy the show, as always. Don't forget about our amazing sponsor, Diacro, a little run family business in America who ship absolutely everywhere. So use code 20, BAZ20 to get 20% off and get yourself a lovely t-shirt. Come on, Team Europe. We'll quickly jump in the chat and then I'm going to bring the guys in. Graham's speaking some French. Even though, like, subscribe, share to your socials. Donation buttons open if you want to donate. Links at the top of the channel if you want to become a member. It basically gets you guys prizes. The more money, the better the prizes. Hello, everyone from Gary V. Nice to see you again. Glad you're not doing the whole show in French. I can't even speak a word of French. Au revoir. Evening, mate. Evening, Andrew. So what's going on? I have no idea. There was just loads of vans and loads of flashing lights. Luckily, they weren't after me. Just seen that post from the In-Betweeners. When people ask me if I like football, I say, yes, I like football, but not Burnley. Burnley can fuck off. Brilliant. Oh, man. Gary, how's it going?
Too bad, but coughing a bit still. Full up nose never. I'm sick. Honestly. Shite.
You'll be over it in a couple of days, man. Trust me. Reese, thank you very much for coming on. And look at those colours.
Yes, thanks for having us.
No, I really appreciate it. So we're going to talk about you first, then we'll get into the football. I think that was the best way to do it. You have a great podcast, which you have Ray Winston on, all about advocating men's mental health, checking in on each other. You know, I try to do it myself. Too much with football and everything going on about it. So do you want to tell us, and then hopefully some guys who watch this show and watch it on repeat can hopefully join up and get that check-in that they might need.
Yeah, thank you. So basically my story started probably last October, November, and it was massively alcohol based. I didn't realize how much of a problem I had with alcohol until I decided that I wanted to stop. So it was just messing up silly things. So yeah, I went here, and I got a lot of identification there that I was an alcoholic. Similar sort of stories that I was listening to there. So over the space of 4 months, I kept picking up a drink. Wasn't able to. I just couldn't do it. I think 3 weeks was the longest period of time that I sort of was able to put down the drink. Wow. And then I was just back in the pub or getting cans or hiding drink. Over Christmas, managed to stay sober. And then a couple of days after Boxing Day, drinking. And that was pretty much a cycle. But I was a chef before that. And what happened was when you're a chef, you would work all day, 16, 17, up to 20 hours a day. And then they would bring pints and put pints up on the pass when you'd served your main course. So you would clean down, send the last desserts, and then have your 4 pints. Then you would go downstairs, have more pints. And so no matter what type of day I had, if it was really stressful, had a good day, any sort of day, it turned into dealing with it with a drink. So then when I was trying to stop, I couldn't deal with my emotions. I didn't have a coping mechanism for when I'd had a busy day or anything like that. And then it was actually, went here and I'd done, there's got a thing there called 90 meetings in 90 days, because 90 days It's meant to kick a habit.
Right.
And I'd done 23 meetings in 23 days, but all I did was go to work, go to a meeting. Some nights I wouldn't even get to see my kids. And it became too much. I'd stopped doing the running. I'd stopped doing everything that was good for like my mental health. And on top of that, I didn't have a coping mechanism for my mental health because I didn't have alcohol anymore, and nothing else was replacing it. So I left work one day and I just walked past the Metro, walked straight into a bar, had a couple of pints there, got the Metro back, took the car straight to the pub. I don't like my partner that I was going to be going to A straight from work. In the end, I had to come clean because it was getting late. I wasn't home. So, yeah, and then because I drank on that Thursday, the Sunday was the cup final against Man U, and I'd already been really struggling with the thought that I wasn't going to be allowed to drink on a cup final when I hadn't seen Newcastle play in a cup final when I was allowed to drink.
Yeah.
I think I was 11 when we went to Cardiff against Man U in the semi-final. And
I remember that.
I was 11 years old. I wasn't drinking there, so it was like my first big a final for Newcastle, and I ended up, because I drank, I went and had a drink that day. And that day, I was in the bar having a few pints. Next thing you know, I'm shots of whiskey. Went home, got 4 cans on the way home. Had them 4 cans, and because I'd finished them, I walked out. I went to the pub, and then I walked straight out of the pub. And outside the pub, there's railway lines, and I walked straight onto the train tracks.
Jesus.
I failed that many times. I couldn't stop. There was. I just felt like there was no hope anymore. So yeah, I was on there, and someone seen us walk on the lines, which is when they used the phone on the crossing to ring the whoever it was, and then I came off the lines when there was a train coming towards us at crawling pace. So I knew like nothing else was going to happen there. So I just I came off.
I will say one thing though: you chose the worst place to go because our metros are shocking.
Well, luckily it wasn't the metros.
Jesus!
It was the big trains.
Well, that's getting worse as well. To be fair.
Yeah, it was the big trains. But yeah, after that, kind of, I was in quite a bad way for a good couple of months, and I done Manchester Marathon in April. It was about 6 weeks after.
Wow.
And I hadn't really been doing any running, a couple of 7 miles here and there, and then done that. Now, my aim was to get under 4 hours. I got 4 hours and 2 minutes, so I missed. It was still I was still pretty happy. Well, no, sorry, I still should have been pretty happy, but I wasn't. And that made my mental health really drop again. And then it was probably 3 weeks. I think it was 3 weeks after that I turned 30. And I'd done David Goggins 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. And that...
Yeah, no thanks.
that honestly, it changed my mindset completely. I finished that challenge, and it was like a flick of a switch, just like that. I felt great. And so since then, that's when really things started like getting better. I've started a new job now. Become a payroll manager working for a charity, and we run other charities' payrolls around here. And through that as well, I've got in touch with quite a lot of charities. So Props is a addiction, so there is support for families of people who are in addiction, but also help people who are in addiction. So I'm going to be doing a couple of some talks with the families and also the people in active addiction. So to give the families hope that they can get to the other side. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, sort of thing. That's it. Because the families, well, it would have been the same for mine. Like the amount 4 or 5 months of going back to the same place. I was really trying, but they're just I haven't really got an answer for that. But since then, I work at One Strawberry Lane, so it's the building just behind the Strawberry Pub, a brand new one that only opened this year.
Yep.
And it's like it's it's owned by Home Group, but what they do is they do a lot of charity stuff. So there was an event on last night where they had 3 charities speaking, and they win you vote for who's going to win the pot, and then the winning charity take away some money. So it's really helpful. And so I'm going to be doing it on a panel of speakers there in November, the start of November, about ADHD, mental health, addiction, that sort of thing. So it's going really well. It is going really well at the minute. I'm doing a lot of running. I've just started with a running coach. Well, I'm starting from on Monday. I've got quite a lot of ultra marathons booked in next year. I've got 4 of them so far. I've got the Wall, which is Carlisle to Newcastle, 70 miles, the Long Hadrian's Wall.
You have to run past the tree.
Marathon. Yes.
Well, the tree.
Yeah. And then I'm doing Ben Nevis Ultra, Scarfell Pike Ultra, and Snowdon Ultra, which are all 6 weeks within each other. So that'll be a pretty nasty challenge. But yeah, I'm doing a lot of stuff with charities, trying to help other people, and just trying to give back and help other people, because really there's not a lot of support for mental health at the moment. The services are really, really battered. And I remember ringing different places after, like when I tried to commit suicide, and I just kept getting told 9 to 12 month waiting list, 9 to 12 month waiting list. And that put us in an even worse position. And you're reaching out, you're trying to tell someone you need help, you need some support, and all you get back is like, you'll have to wait a year. And all I thought was, I can't wait a year. I'll just go. Like, all I wanted to do then was just go back to them train lines and try again, because it was like, I can't feel this way for another year before someone eventually tries to help it. And then in the end, I've done it on my own. I haven't had any help. And that's why I'm kind of trying to use my story to help other people, because if I'm not like if I don't use my story to help other people, then they might just they might not get any help, and then they could end up going again and doing something. So if someone hears it and they need any help, they can message me anytime.
Awesome. So what's the podcast?
Oh yeah, sorry. So
it's the important bit.
It's called the Everyman Podcast. So we have different guests on talking about different struggles that men face every day, really. So Ray, like you said, Ray Winston was on with Gary Petit, and we're talking about prostate cancer. We had a professional footballer called Sam Winall on Monday night. He played for like Chef Wed and Derby and teams like that. And that was an amazing one. He's training as a counsellor, and he works for Tony Adams' Sporting Chance charity, helping other athletes with mental health issues. So we're just trying to get guests on that have got real stories and that can help people, because it was set up because two of the lads, their friend, committed suicide, and I think it's something like 75%. I'm not sure on the stats, but I know it's the biggest killer of men under 45.
Oh yeah, definitely
suicide.
Is,
So, and I think it's the percentage of it is absolutely crazy. So, just before I came on, I seen about a 45-year-old bloke that just committed suicide. And it's just horrible that there's no other way out. And there's no real support. So the podcast is there for people to listen to, try and see if they identify, and all of who are contactable, all on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anything. So I say my messages are always open, and I'll help anyone I can.
Love it. Absolutely love it. We've done a few mental health ones. Obviously, there's what they're called again, I forgot one. Josh Banyan, we had him on. He does great work with Newcastle Foundation. There's loads out there as well. It's just having the guts to come and talk to you. I think that's what a lot of men find hard, don't they? They find it hard to actually having that first conversation. So, your door's open, my door's open, everyone's door's open on this channel. So if you're ever feeling down or feeling anywhere like that, you know where to come to. Amazing stuff, and it's an amazing story, Reece, and thanks for sharing that. I really do appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having us.
No. Let's talk about some football now, because that's what we
Yeah.
want to do as well. There's been a lot going on recently. So there's Emil Kraft's back. Kraft is back. The man who was dubbed Emil Crap is now obviously much better than that, and he's starting in the 21 games tonight. I think we're winning 1-0. I think I last saw, but it's great to see him back. I personally think we'll get him fit and sell him. I don't know what you guys think of that one, Reese. Do you think he's surplus to requirements now with Trippier and Tino and everybody else?
I was never his biggest fan, anyways. But he did have a few good games before his injury. But yeah, I think we've got Tino in there, and then Ashby still to come back from loan as well.
Yeah, Ashby come back from loan.
I think we've got more than enough cover for him.
Yeah, I did like him though, Gary. I mean, he did put in some very good performances under Eddie Howe. If we want to play free at the back, he could be that right centre back potentially, because he can play there. If we need to play that system, which Howe seems to be tinkering with a few times in pre-season, and also against Man City.
I agree with Reese in a way, because I couldn't really get away with him. I found him really frustrating.
We couldn't later on save his life, could he?
No, well, he couldn't defend either.
That's harsh. Under Bruce,
but under Eddie's coaching, he got better, and he did have some good games. But I tell you what, this moment in time, I feel sorry for him, because he plays in a position where he's got absolutely no chance of getting ahead of them two.
He hasn't, has he?
And well, no, I mean, you've got more chance of getting ahead of Sven Barton than you have of getting ahead of these two with them. And I think you're right. I think they'll get him fit, and they'll find him a good club, because I think he is well liked at the club. They'll not ship him out and throw him out. They'll help him and help him get fit, even if it means in the summer he stays summer, gets fit, goes January next time. But yeah, good on say he's back, because it was a bad injury. It
was a very bad injury.
I mean, when you think we've just played the Carabao Cup third round, that's the game he got injured in last year.
Yeah,
so it's been a year.
I'm glad. I mean, I'm glad we don't throw people out these days. Look at what we did with Longstaff's brother. We let him train with the club. We didn't just release him. It's nice to see that.
Now.
Yeah, there you are. You see,
my son, he's at the Mini Magpies at Newcastle, and he trains every Monday at the training ground. And Matty Longstaff was just getting in his car as well, leaving, and he got a picture of him and stuff. So he's still be able to use all the facilities and everything, which is really good.
Just told my 8-year-old Mackems are winning. Her response is, "Who are they?" Love it. I can't believe they're 2-0 up after 16 minutes. This is absolute fabulous news, if correct. Talks between Newcastle and Joe Linton over a new contract are progressing well. The Magpies are also keen to tie Sven Botman down to a new deal aimed interest from PSG. We're making the right moves now, Gary. We're getting all our top players put down on contracts. I reckon they'll put hefty release clauses in, because it's a sensible thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, kind of saying like Barcelona release clauses, but you know what I mean.
Sven Botman wants to be 200 million release clause. I'm telling you.
I'm glad they're doing it, because we knew this was going to come, where our star players were going to get, interest. Put it that way, the media were going to jump on the bandwagon with, "Oh, he wants to leave, he wants to go," and so on. Bruno's one of them. Beltman's the other. And obviously Joe Linton. By the looks of it, they look like they want to announce them all at the same time, by the looks of it, because they're trying to get everything sorted and make a major announcement. But it's great. We need to keep players like that. I do think in the next 2 years we will sell a store for FFP, which will help with growth. But I want to keep as many of them as I can. And Botman's the one for me as well. We need to keep Botman. I mean, he's so vital to that club. It's unbelievable. I mean,
we've said for how long? This is our back five for years to come, potentially.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, if you look at it now, you've got, obviously, I think the goalkeeper will be replaced eventually. But you've got Tino, you've got Lewis Hall, who I think will go at left back. You've got Botman, and then obviously we'll get a young centre back in. Another keeper, and you're right, that's part of the defence already done for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's I love it. Well, I'm the same. I never thought I would see a better defender than Jonathan Woodgate, and
we said that.
then Botman come in, and I have. And it took time because we've always been renowned for being terrible at the back, you know.
Mhm.
And it's nice to see good defenders for a change, because I was watching Boomsong and Bramble and you name it, cocking it up on a really daily basis, and Marcelino having finger injuries. And,
Oh, Jesus.
yeah, I know, it's just like, oh,
So
nice
let's
to
not
see
talk
good
about those
defence for a
days.
game.
It is. It's great to see a great defence. You're right, though, Andy. I only mod for good people and bad leads by example. Thank you. I don't want to think about there's stuff to talk about blue pills and stuff like that. There's a child listening in. Reese, we'll come to this one. Eddie Howe and Joe Linton. It was a really good performance on Wednesday from Joey. I think most of all physically, because he hadn't had a huge amount of training. He was desperate to get back, and you could see that. He managed the whole 90 minutes, which is great to see. He's a huge player for us. I mean, he's a human. What a turnaround. I mean, this is the biggest turnaround I've ever seen in my entire life. Probably even bigger than the Ryder Cup when we were needing to win 10 out of 14 singles on the last day.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's unbelievable. Absolutely love him. I was buzzing to see him back in the starting lineup on Wednesday night, and he was absolutely tremendous. Yeah, just it's unbelievable the transformation in him from where he was at number 9 under Steve Bruce. He didn't have a first touch even then. So the player he is now, it's unbelievable.
He's an animal. He really is. The way he kept on running, and the way he set up the goal as well just epitomised him. You know, he never gives in. I've run out of superlatives for Joe Linton now, which is really weird, because when we first came and then I first started doing these 2 years ago, it was about how absolute dog crap he was. You know, it's the worst 40 million we've ever spent, and now it looks like it's the best 40 million we've ever spent.
I was one of those wanting him out the door at the time, I remember.
Oh, we all did. We all thought, what the hell have we bought? And I've not heard this. What's all this about?
Yeah, that came from the Sun.
All right, move on.
Yeah, just the Sun.
We definitely don't need to talk about that then, do we?
They might be looking at buying a club at some point, right? But that story comes from the Sun. They're not going to buy a French team. They'll buy an Italian team. I can see that. There's more competition and more money in the Italian league. They can get the Italian league better. The French league, even Neymar left the French league, went to Saudi Arabia and said this league's better than the French league. There's only
I'm not
one
too sure
team in
how
it.
true that is, to be fair, but I watched Neymar dance around a lot of players in that league, and I think he's just saying it because he's in it, to be honest with you. Let's go to the next one. So me and Gary have had a bit of a chuckle all day about this. So Eddie Howe on Alex. He's another one we'll need to make a late check on. That's the cost of having 3 games in a week. It's usually the third game where these things build up. And then on to Callum Wilson and Sven Botman as well. We're going to see today. Callum is very minor hamstring tightness. We'll give him every chance of being available. Same with Sven. We'll make a late check on him. He's just playing the media, isn't he, Gary?
He always does. But people fall for it. It's genius.
Yeah.
Everybody falls for it. Craig Hope said late fitness tests and all that. And how many fans have been talking today about, oh, God, we could have no striker?
Yeah, who's going to be our replacement striker for these two? It's just like, well, who's going to play?
I mean, I've changed my tune on who's going to play up front. I did think Wilson was going to play up front this weekend, but when he mentions injuries, I tend to think Wilson might be true. The rest of them, I think he's just like... I think Wilson will be on the bench, but I did have him starting a couple of days ago, but I do think he'll be on the bench now. But it's just Eddie playing the media. That's all he does. And I mean, Botman was in the picture the other day when they won the game.
Yeah.
Nowadays, if he's that bad, he should be at home resting, you know what I mean? He was too busy going like that in the background, you know? So it's like, it doesn't wash for me. It doesn't, you know what it is? He's the same as Pep. Pep was going to play the kids on Wednesday, and he had more first teamers than us. So
I mean, their whole team probably cost more than our squad on the
Probably.
night. It wouldn't surprise me. What do you make of it all, Reece? Do you think it's just mind games again, which is, it's great to have a manager who actually can play the media for a change rather than going, how's the bacon?
That's it, yeah. No, I agree with Gary there. I think Wilson, possibly, especially since he's suffered with his hamstring quite a bit anyways, but hopefully the rest of them will be good to go.
I think they'll all be good to go, to be honest with you. City started 100 million defender, exactly.
I mean, can you remember what he said a week ago? I remember it now. He went, Willock's coming back after the internationals and Joe Linton's still about 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
5 days later, I was starting against City. I mean,
oh, man.
you know, if Eddie Howe goes on a night out, his wife must go, boy, you been up to anything around it like that? You know, she must be dead, even insecure. Because he's great at lying.
He's got that poker face out there. I would never play poker against Eddie Howe. Never. You can imagine just laughing at his cards, and then you go, all right, I'm all in, and then bam, you round down a royal flush or something like that and just take all your money off you.
I know.
I think he's that way. We're gonna
I wouldn't be surprised, mate. Well, I had Wilson starting.
We'll come to team soon.
All right.
Not yet. Not yet. I am the wise one. Remember, I'm Yoda.
Yoda.
So Tino Livramento obviously was the man of the match. We did talk about his stats, but here they are from the Newcastle United stats zone. It just looks better when it's on the screen than me rabbling it all out. But 58 touches, he had a 93% pass accuracy, I think it was, or 96% off the top of my head. 8 tackles, 3 interceptions, 2 crosses, 2 dribbles. There was even better stats in there they could have put up. But Reece, he was phenomenal against Man City at the right back. I feel sorry for Trips. He's going to have to try and beat that.
Yeah, he was. He was class. There was a couple of times he looked as if he was going to be caught out. He seemed to push on a little bit too far. I think it was when someone went
last-ditch challenge.
Got a last-ditch challenge. He sort of hesitated a little bit, but he's got that pace to recover as well, which is brilliant in a defender.
Just got his feet right at the right time, didn't he, for that?
He did, yeah. There was one in the first half as well where he got a little bit lucky. He seemed to go quite high up, and the keeper, it looked like it wasn't Edison actually, because the keeper went to make a long ball off the floor, and it was to put Grealish in, and Grealish would have been in if it had got through, but luckily it was a poor pass, and I think it was Lascelles there that just tidied it up. But he does look good for his first start. You can't ask for much more, really, can you?
Oh, he was fabulous, and like I say, we could move Trips to left now and put Livramento right back, even though Trips won't be happy with that. But let's go to some teams. Did I have the team names? I thought I had team names.
I'll tell you what, just a quick one, Baz, on Livramento. I heard somebody mention this today, and he has got a good point. If just say Shaw, Barton are injured, right? What you could do is you could move Dan Burn to centre-back and play Livramento and Trippier in full-back positions if there's an injury at centre-back.
Yeah,
and I went, that's a good move, that way. And, but, yeah.
Options. I mean, Target didn't exactly have a bad game himself at left-back. I thought he played all right, to be fair. He's thrown his name in the hat a little bit again. And he says nothing but the truth, no shithousery, no lies. The guy straight down the line. It's coming from Andy, so we know he's lying.
Yeah.
Right. Reece, I believe this is your team. This is what you've went for.
Yeah. I think it's Ben was possibly in Target did it. He had a good game, Target. Paul didn't have a very good game, so he wouldn't be sneaking in that lineup. But if Ben's fit, he's going to play. Eddie loves him, doesn't he? Botman Shaw says everything. Tonali, I'll give him a bit of a break from it all because he's getting a bit of stick from some of the fans, to be honest. Say on Twitter and things. So I would be giving him a bit of a break, bring him off the bench, depending on what's happening in the game. Bruno, hopefully, he's fit enough to play because they said he had a knock.
Yeah.
Joe Linton, is he going to play again after playing a full 90 just after injury. I'm not sure. I would love to see him start, and then Gordon, Miggy, and Isak. Isak for me, I think would be. I would have him starting, especially if Wilson does have a tight hamstring.
Okay, you get them.
Isak start, we're going to come to the talk about it soon, but this is Gary's team. This is what he's gone for. He's gone for pretty much the same.
Exactly the same.
Yeah, exactly the same. So there you go. You two thinking alike. I disagree.
Well, my lineup's purely changed on the fact that if you'd asked us this 2 days ago, I would have had Anderson in for Joe Linton, and I would have had Wilson in for Isak. But I've got a feeling Eddie's going to go out all guns blazing from minute one against them, try to get a comfortable lead, and then take some of them off after 60 minutes.
But you can do that with Wilson and Anderson in the team as well, though.
Oh, yeah, you can. I just think, you know what it is? If the rumours are true that Wilson's got so much of a little injury, he will not start tomorrow. And how can you drop Joe Linton? I mean, after that.
I don't think he's dropping him. I think you're trying to see if he's still got the right fitness levels from being injured for a while and playing his first full 90 minutes. Is he going to come out of it fresh enough to do that again on Saturday? And remember, Joe Linton played in Gordon's position.
Yes,
Man City. So
I do think Tonali will come out, and
I do as well.
And I tell you what, man. Look, at some point, Eddie's going to have to find a place for Tino Livramento in that starting lineup. I don't know how he's going to do it, because obviously you cannot drop Trippier. But at some point, I've said it again, he's too good to be on the bench. After watching him the other day, and I'm not just going off one game here. I'm going off what people have told us, what I saw from when he played for Southampton. And you can't keep players that good on the bench. At some point, he has to come in.
The mighty one says you rest Sandro, and I think you're sending entirely the wrong message. I just don't think Sandro's up to the speed yet, and that was confirmed about him getting a translator coming in to help him with tactics and things like that. So it's not resting Sandro; it's actually dropping him and trying to ease him into Premier League life, which Eddie really likes to do. He did it with Bruno, he did it with Botman, he's done it with most of his players that he signed. He's easing them in, like Lewis Hall. He's easing him in as well. So personally, I would go with the exact same team that beat Sheffield United, with obviously Gordon taking Bonds' place. So Anderson would play as well. And then give it your all in the first 45 minutes and then make the changes early in the second half if we need to. So the likes of Joe Linton coming on, Sandro coming on, Isak coming on if we need them to. Because I think Wednesday is just going to be massive. I really do. Well,
Tonali will start on Wednesday. All right. Because he'll go for Champions League experience and Tonali's got it. So, but that's the thing now. I'm struggling to pick. I'm struggling to pick the lineups. I can't get them right now.
No, we can't, can we? Because it's hard to choose what's going to happen.
Who would have got? You can sit there. Who would have got that lineup right on Wednesday? Who seriously would have got that?
No one would have done it in themselves as centre back.
No, not a chance. And I think it's the same this weekend. And your lineup will be your lineup. Mine and Reece is the same. You know it is. They both could be wrong.
I just think because we battered Sheffield United 8-0, why would you change that winning team?
Because when people perform like Joe Linton did and stuff like that, sometimes you have to. And
but I'd rather save Joe Linton now for Wednesday night.
He might.
Give him a week off.
But you know what it is? Wednesday night's just as important as Wednesday.
Oh, of course it is.
And you know what it is? If you underestimate,
it sort of is. I'm not going on Saturday. I'm going on Wednesday. So Wednesday's more important.
Yeah. No, but it's this is Newcastle. I don't think it will be this time, right? But if I ever see Newcastle they come off two massive big victories, then they hit a banana skin against like a Burnley, like it'll happen at the weekend, and then they'll go and beat PSG. That's the Newcastle of old, right? So they've got to be careful this weekend. It's one of those where
massively true.
Yeah, you cannot underestimate them. They're still looking for their first win, right?
They're a decent side. Play good football. Yeah. This is how they could potentially line up. This is from SofaScore. The average age. I mean, he's got a young team. The average age is 24 years old. You know, so even if they do go down again this year, they're going to be in a good position to come straight back up again. Apparently, they play a 4-2-3-1, which would be interesting because that's a formation we would love to see Newcastle play. So if there is an issue in midfield again, which there has been in the past, you know, this formation is one of the ones that really finds the gaps.
Yeah.
A bit like how Brighton did with their formation. Aaron Ramsey from Villa was a shrewd acquisition. I don't know a lot of the other players, to be honest with you. I know it's horrible, but I didn't watch the Championship last year. All I know is Burnley romped it and played good football.
Well, they did, but it's like, I mean, I know a little bit about Connor Roberts, right? He's a decent player, but if Burnley think they can come into Premier League and play the way they did in the Championship, they're not gonna stay up, right? But Company's adamant he's gonna keep playing the same way. Now, when you look at that team, who would you say is a Premiership player? The goalkeeper, maybe.
I think Aaron Ramsey's a Premiership player, to be fair. I think that was a bit of a strange move from Villa letting him go, personally.
Who's that, sorry?
Aaron Ramsey. He's the one from Villa, isn't he? I'm sure he is.
I was thinking, do you know what it is? I've got no idea, because I was thinking of the other Aaron Ramsey then. I'm going, I can't remember them buying him.
He's went to Cardiff, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's at Cardiff.
Aaron Ramsey, he was I think he did come from Villa, but it's the Ramsey.
No, he came from Middlesbrough, apparently. Middlesbrough, Norwich, Cheltenham. Burnley bought him for 14.3 million from someone.
You know what it is?
It was Villa under 21s. Yeah, he did play for Villa.
Yeah, it's the other Ramsey's the one you're thinking of. The one
Jacob Ramsey. I
honestly
think Aaron Ramsey's a good player as well, though.
Didn't they sign Xander Berg?
Yes, they did, from Sheffield United, which is another strange one. Why would Sheffield United let their best player go?
Yeah, I know it was. But it's like, you know, if I look at that, I mean, just say that's the lineup, right, at this weekend. No disrespect to Burnley. If Newcastle play 75% of the way they did in the second half on Wednesday, they'll win that game 4-0.
Yeah.
They will. That midfield is not strong enough to take on Newcastle's midfield, not in a million years. It isn't. This game all depends on which Newcastle turn up. If the Newcastle turn up at the first half, right, it could be like a tight game, 2-1-ish. If the second half team turns up,
it could be a romp.
I tell you what, you could push 8-0 again. And that's, I'm not just saying it. It's just, I think they're right when they say the three teams that have come up. I didn't realise it a couple of weeks ago. The three of them just look miles up.
We're going to talk about the table there. I'm just laughing at myself now because I've gone on SofaScore and I've gone to injuries and suspensions, right? They've been listening to Eddie Howe because according to this, out, we have Harvey Barnes, Emil Kraft and Joe Willock. Doubtful, we have Sven Botman, Dan Burn, Martin Dubravka, Bruno Guimaraes, Alexander Isak, Jacob Murphy and Callum Wilson.
Yeah.
That's literally a whole team.
Live score had Isak and Botman out as well.
Brilliant. I love it. But apparently they haven't been well, so it's an interesting one.
Dan Burn was ill on Wednesday, wasn't he?
Yeah. But if Botman's well, why was he in the picture?
Yeah, I think Eddie's lying. I think he's purely lying, right? Because he doesn't want to come out and say he played a weekend side against Man City. He doesn't want to do it. He goes on about rotation, so he's going to bring up injuries and stuff. I tell you what, the one thing I do know is Joe Willock will be out the game, right? And if there's anybody who's going to have a little injury, it's Wilson. And I find it funny how people keep saying that Isak's a doubt when after the game he says, "Oh, I'm okay."
Yeah, that was brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, but Isak's injured. I told you after that game when they asked him that question, he stuttered and he didn't know what to say because he could see Eddie's eyes looking on him and going, you're meant to pretend you're injured. Son. You know what is the one person who I thought picked up a little knock on Wednesday was Bruno, because that one might
Isaac
be a
as
little
well. The
bit
way he
tricky.
went down, to me, it looked like he was struggling because there was no one around him, and he just went down. Bruno's, he got like a good knock on his. It was the way he landed, wasn't it?
Yeah, the ball hit his foot, and I don't know what it is about Bruno and his ankle, right? But the ball hit his ankle, and his ankle sort of went like that. And I'm looking, I'm going, how's it done that? Because I know for a fact I could kick the ball off his foot right now, and that his foot wouldn't do that, and he's a kid. And it's just like, honestly,
Andy's paid for a Happy Meal for you, little one.
But it's I think it'll be close to a full strength lineup. I think Eddie's just telling a few porcupines.
I do as well. Right, some stats for you for the game. We'll just quickly run through them. What's this one? Damn, one of these days I'll catch you start. Come on, Jim. 8 o'clock. Jim, we don't start any later or any earlier than 8 o'clock. When it's a weekday, it's 8 o'clock all the time because I finish work at 7. I cycle home as fast as I can. I get a shower. I smashed a bacon sandwich, a cup of coffee, and 8 o'clock start.
He's nearly as bad as Morrow, him.
Yeah, isn't he?
But the problem is Morrow's on the show and he turns up half an hour late.
Yeah, he does, yeah. Oh, God. It's so funny when it's like, Morrow, I'm finishing. See you later. Right, stats. So I voted, as I always do on SofaScore. So the votes are in. 10,430 people think Newcastle are going to win. 79% of the vote. 16 deluded Burnley fans have put a draw of 2,052. And the even deluded fans who need a straight jacket, 733 of them think Burnley's going to win. It's just not going to happen. The form guide reads as we've lost 3 and won 2 recently. They've lost 3, drawn 1, and then lost another. So they're obviously, not very good. The odds. Let's have a look, see if there's any other decent little stats for us. Team streaks, all Newcastle, no losses, 4, no goals conceded in 4. We're on for a 5th clean sheet in a row, which is amazing. Burnley, however, do score first in most of their games, 4 out of 5. More than 4.5 cards, 4 out of 5 for Newcastle. We need to work on our temperament, don't we? The way we go to the referee. Kicking the ball away was stupid against Man City. Talani did that. He kicked it literally 3 yards away. He got a yellow card. I'm like, if you're going to kick the ball away, who fit into the fucking stand?
I was livid about that, mate. I was livid when he did it.
Kick it at distance. Don't just kick it 3 yards away.
It's a pointless booking. Honestly, it really is.
Head-to-heads, Newcastle have won 6. There's been 4 draws and 3 Burnley wins. Now, this is what I don't like this. I do not like this. Newcastle are 33 to 100 to win. We should be winning 75% of the time when we're those odds. We're actually only winning 63% of the time. And do you know what? That goes back to like last season when we drew with Palace, drew with Bournemouth. We had that little run of results, didn't we? Where we drew with Brentford as well, didn't we? Oh, no, we hammered Brentford. We had a little run of results, didn't we, at home when we were favourites and we just couldn't get that elusive goal, could we? Previous results, we beat Burnley 1-0 in 2021 at home. And the other game before that was 0-0. But we're talking about the Bruce era here, aren't we? We beat them 3-1. There was a 0-0 draw in there. We beat them 2-0. There was another 1-1 draw. And there was a 3-3 draw all the way back in 2015. So, yeah. The omen is it's either going to be a win or a draw. I don't think Burnley are in this competition, to be honest with you, or in this contest. But they're the stats.
I would just, from minute 1, I think Eddie's going to do this. I would just go out. If you get an early goal, like within the first 10 minutes, I think they're done. I really do. I think they're done because they're not going to come up here. You know what it is? Company will say we're going to go out all guns blazing attack. That's the way he works, right? But I do believe
they do it every team, don't they? So far, they've all tried to carry on playing beautiful football and they're getting beat.
Yeah, I know. And one time he's going to change it. And I think it might be tomorrow where he thinks I might have to change this because he saw what happened to Sheffield United, right? So he's probably thinking if we go out and attack Newcastle at St. James's, they could hit double figures. That's what he might be thinking. So, look, you know what it is? I saw him, Macam on Twitter, right? Basically on Wednesday saying that...
You definitely didn't see him in Milan.
He was going on about like, I'd quit football if I had to watch that first half. And then another Macam responded and says, look, he says, they did what they had to do in the game. He says, what do you expect? If you attack Man City, he says, they destroy you. Right? So you've got to play. Company cannot keep playing the way he is. As much as he wants to, he hasn't got the players to do that. They're going to get relegated. He has to change it because it's not going to work. I think he might change it tomorrow. I hope he doesn't because we'll trounce them if they come and attack. It's good. Shame we couldn't get Blade's prediction because he probably gone 12 now or something.
You go 18-2 or something stupid. We've got Andy for that though. Andy does that. All right, everyone in the chat, put your result in for tomorrow and tell us what you think the score is going to be. Reece, do you agree it should be a comfortable win for Newcastle, or are you worried about that little dip in form again that normally happens when we play against teams that come and defend at St James's Park?
No, I'm not worried. I don't think they're going to be a pushover as easy as what you're maybe thinking and saying, even if they're playing no way, because even in the last game against Man U, they were quite unlucky to get beat 1-0.
Yeah. But Man United shite, let's face it. Come on.
That's it, yeah.
Too much credit to Man United there, man.
I mean, if you kind of beat Man United at home, you're struggling, aren't you?
Yeah.
The 5-2 against Spurs, they still had chances to make it. I don't get us wrong. I think we will win, but I think I don't think he'll be changing it, ready to go fully defensive just yet. I think he's got a fit. And I think that's what will play into our favour because teams come up here and if they're open, it's when teams sit and they're really defensive, that's when we struggle to break them down.
Like Palace. Like Bournemouth.
That's it, yeah.
I mean, but this is why Tonali come in, and because it's to break teams down that do this sort of thing. And the way Bruno's playing now, the last few games, now that Longstaff's back in, he's further forward. You know what it is? If Bruno was on his game tomorrow, they'll not be able to cope with him. Absolutely no chance. He'll pick it through a through ball or something like that, and before you know it, we're on and it's 1-0 because you just can't defend against stuff like that. And this is why we brought Tonali as well. He could come on and open gaps or something the other.
I
agree with Reece in a way.
I think with Gordon as well, though,
he
hasn't even been mentioned tonight. And Gordon, as soon as he's picking up the ball, every time he looks dangerous. He looks like he's going to either create or score himself. He's just a complete different player last season. But that was all down to his fitness, and he came out and said that last season anyway. So I think him getting the ball, and I know you said Connor Roberts is a decent player, but he's not going to be able to face up with Gordon's on fire.
No.
So if they go 4 at the back, and he's playing up against him, I think that's straight away there. That'll be
4-0.
Love it.
1-0.
4-0, I think he said. 4-0. Let's have a look at the league table before we make our predictions. We're finally in the top half of the table, so it's great to look at the table again. 8th with 9 points from 6 games with a +9 goal difference. Really hammering Sheffield United. It was massive for us to get that goal difference right up there. The bottom half of the table, it is very strange to see all 3 promoted teams struggling. I mean, all of us, I think, when we did our predictions, had Burnley been comfortable this year, and maybe an Everton dropping down, or a Wolves, or a Bournemouth. But it seems to be the 3 teams that have come up are really, really struggling this year. Only 1 point each, all searching for their first win. So, go on.
Sorry. You know what the problem with them 3 is? None of them have got a goal scorer, whereas the teams above them have.
Yeah, true.
If Everton will stay up, if Calvert-Lewin stays fit, right? Brentford have got Tony. Chelsea aren't getting relegated. At some point, they'll get out. Bournemouth have got Solanke and Wolves have got what do you call him? What's that striker they've got?
Cunha.
No, it's not. It's not him. Kyle's just said a name there, but it's not him. It's somebody else.
Who would you shout, Reese?
Yeah.
Cut out again.
Sorry, Cunha.
Cunha. Is it him?
I can't remember, but
I'm searching Wolves now to have a look.
I have a look because
I don't have
that's
him
the
in
problem.
anymore.
Because Luton have got Morris, right? And yeah, he's a decent player, but he's not going to get you double figures. Sheffield United have got Cameron Archer, and I mean, why did Villa get rid of him? There's a reason. And Burnley, I mean, they've got that guy who I've never heard of, so I think that's why they're in the bottom three. One, obviously, their defence is shocking, but if you don't score goals in the Premiership, you get relegated. I mean, a couple
Wolves
of years
have
ago,
got Cunha, or Chunya, how do you pronounce his name?
yeah,
He Chang Juan, Pedro Neto, Pablo Saberia, Fabio Silva, and Sasa Kalajic.
yeah. I mean, they're not like household names, but you're going to get some goals in there, right? Who was I going to say for? Like a few years ago, I remember. I think it was who got relegated again. Anyway, they had Andy Johnson, and Johnson scored 20-odd goals
West
for them.
Brom?
I think it was Palace. No, I think it was Palace.
Parsons.
And he scored 20-odd goals for them, and they still got relegated, right? So if you haven't got a player who's not going to get you anywhere near, you're not going to stay up. And we've seen it time and time again in this league.
Yeah.
It's ruthless. And you look great in the Championship, and you come into the Premiership, and it's just a different ballgame.
Burnley lost their goal scorer, didn't they? I had that Teller from Southampton.
Yes,
Teller. In France, so I think they had quite a few players on loan that season. So the team that we've got this season is nothing like the team that they had last season.
Yeah, they were better last season.
Yeah.
But it's frightening because they've spent 90-odd million £90 That's the frightening thing about it. And when you look at that lineup, who, like I said, the goalkeeper might be Premiership quality in a few years because he's young and he came from Man City, but the rest of them, honestly, it's going to be a long season for them. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But like I said to this fan the other day, going to St James's Park and getting B3 now, they're not the results that are going to define your season.
No.
It's the home games to Everton and Wolves and that. That's what defines your season.
Definitely. Right, we'll jump in the comments. There's quite a lot in there for the score, so get ready for you guys to do your predictions. So 4-0, 8-0, there's 5-0. Can you imagine back-to-back 8-0 wins? That would be amazing. 1-0 plus one goal every 15 minutes after the first one. Carl's prediction was 4-0. Someone asked in the Twitter, GRP, where you can watch the game. Just heard it streaming in most Mexican channels. Fantastic. I'll be okay. Kyle hasn't had dinner. Can't wait for Newcastle versus Luton. I can't either, to be fair. Hi, lads. Hi, Anne. Hope you're well. 3-0 to the 2-0 me, but Burnley are a good team. Just need experience, which they are getting this season, but be wary of being too cocky because they might just surprise you. Wow. Got to be cocky, haven't we? We're top four. I think we'll be talking about the game for a long time. Kyle, you look knackered. You can get a Happy Meal delivered in 20 minutes, mate. Do you want the Mackhams to come up so they get regularly in the Premier League? Oh, there's a question just right at the end of the show, that one, Peter. Thanks very much, mate. Reece, do you want the Mackhams back in the Premier League?
I'm torn. I want to batter them. In the other, I kind of want them to just suffer, get relegated again and again. Just watch them suffer, but I would like to get them in a cup and just batter them.
I missed Derby. I did put out there I missed Derby, to be fair. But I like them being at arm's length all the time. It's just funny.
I've changed my tune with them.
Go on then.
Yesterday, I didn't want them up, and then I heard Bob Murray's interview, and I thought, get them back up, because I just want to see them get absolutely trounced off. I've had enough of them. I've had enough of this in a row nonsense and all
Oh,
this at the
God,
sit
yeah.
on. And you know, the one thing I do know is this team could destroy them. Because can you imagine Joe Linton in the derby?
Oh,
Honestly, we've got players that could absolutely just. Because the thing is, we're playing Burnley tomorrow, and Burnley's one of those games where, yeah, you're playing Burnley, this, that, and the other. If you're playing Sunderland, right? The players are going to be up for it anyway, and our quality compared to them is massive. They've got Jack Clark, but I can guarantee Jack Clark will be away in January. That's for certain, because somebody's going to pop a bid in, and he'll be away.
Rig as well. He's 18.
So
his contract's
I'd
up.
get them back up for me, because I've had nothing. I was happy where they were, but I'm ready to give them a good. I'd like to see them fight relegation.
Well, we're fighting for the title. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That'll do me. I'm getting ready for them now.
I love it. Score prediction, Gary?
3-0.
3-0. Reece?
I'll go 5.
Oh, you just said to me.
I think it's one of them where, like, when we're in this type of mood, we'll want to keep the momentum going up until Wednesday as well. We want another win. I think I'll go 5-1.
5-1. That's still even higher than I expected. I thought you, oh yeah, we've got to be cautious to do this and that. Would be a bit difficult. 2-3-0 maybe. Just 5-0, mate. I love it. I went 3-0 on Super 6. So if anyone's trying to beat me on Super 6, you know what my score is going to be for this game. So I think it'll be a comfortable win. I think we'll get 2 in the first half, make loads of changes. The second half will be a bit scrappy because of that, and we'll nick a goal and win it 3-0. That'll be how I think it goes. But anyway, thanks for coming on, Reece. I really appreciate it. Great story, and we're glad you're well and you're doing really well in yourself. If anyone's interested, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up if you've enjoyed the show. Don't forget about Reece's channel as well. What's it called again?
The Everyman Podcast.
The Everyman Podcast, where Rin Winston's been on. Don't forget about our amazing sponsors, Diet Crow. T-shirt to give away in October. But if you want to buy one sooner, there's 20% off for all viewers if you use that code. And the T-shirts are amazing. I've got the Nick Pope one. So please consider doing that. And don't forget, if you want to become a member, links at the top of the chat. It'll be there forever now. So if you are watching this on repeat and you want to become a member, just click in the chat section and you'll see the link for it. So thank you very much to everyone. We're going to smash them tomorrow. Gaz will be doing the watch along, and then we'll be back together tomorrow night to review the show. And Reece, you're welcome back on tomorrow night if you're not doing anything and you want to discuss the performance. It's up to you.
Barton, thank you. I'll drop you a message tomorrow. And thanks for having us on.
No, thanks for coming on.
Really enjoyed it. Nice to meet you both as well.
Yes.
You too.
Right, everyone in the chat, enjoy your weekend. I'm at work.